Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Life Fishing. What I'd like to talk to you about today is the fact that Humminbird released an announcement today. They sent out an email to everybody that's registered with them that there is new software available, right? So if you're registered with them, if they've got your email address, they know you've got a graph, you probably got one of these emails. I got mine, of course, you can see there at 1:48 p.m. and immediately went and started looking to see what it was all about. And while I was still reading about it, I was already getting text messages from several buddies. You know, hey, have you applied this yet? Should I do it? Is it any good? Right? I'm the resident nerd in the group, right? So it's kind of how I got started with all this. But in any event, you know, so I start reading the email, and you know, so this is what it says. You know, new software update available. All users must download and install a new Helix base map after updating their software, right? Well, I don't care about base map. I use Lake Master Plus cards and record my own sonar, so that doesn't matter to me. I don't live anywhere near the U.S. coast, right? You know, East Coast, West Coast, Gulf Coast. I don't live anywhere near any of that, and my boat is 16 feet long. It's not going to go in any of that water, promise. I don't really care about their Raptor shallow water anchor nonsense, just like I don't care about power poles or talons. They're no use for $4,000 worth of anchors. Optimum downriggers, well, since most of the water I fish is, you know, 10, 12, 15 feet deep, I don't really think I give a damn about that either. So two ways to update. Update by smartphone, my ass. Scroll up in their email, and it says right here that it must be installed via computer, will not be available via the Fish Smart app. So why are they even mentioning this? In typical Humminbird form, you know, I'm sure 9 different people wrote this email, and not a single one of them bothered to pay any attention to what the other ones are doing. You know, just like their software development team, right? Which is the whole reason why I'm recommending that you do not install this update, right? So if we go over and take a look at the update, right? Here it is. Software update, right? Notice that this is for the Mega SI GPS Gen 2, which is what I have. And you can see that the URL also is specific to Gen 2. And yet, if we scroll down, one of the things that they claim they fixed is an issue where changing the Mega DI Plus display frequency would also change the Mega 360's display frequency. You lazy bastards, that's not even applicable to Gen 2 units. They can't even be bothered to proofread what they put in their emails or what they put on their website. And we're supposed to expect that the software that they write is any good. Right? Well, if you've updated software on your units before, you probably already know exactly where I'm going with this. And the fact is that Humminbird does not have the best track record for releasing stable software. Right? My units are running 2110. Right? I tried 2180 on them, and you know what? It was a piece of trash. It was horrible. It was garbage. They screwed up the imaging display. They screwed up all kinds of stuff. 2110 worked great. Right? Releases prior to that, there were all kinds of issues with, you know, the units wouldn't properly read 2D and you know, hold bottom depth readings, and maps were all fucked up, and you know, you'd be driving around on the lake and you know, you'd be in 10 foot of water, it would tell you were in 20 foot of water, it would show you bottom twice, you know, all kinds of crap, right? Guys had all kinds of problems with all that stuff. And you know, some of that was fixed in maybe 1.8.4, I think, but 2.1.1.0 was a pretty stable release, and that included support for the high-wide 2D transducers. You know, even though Humminbird will tell you not to do that, it works perfectly fine. I've got a Gen 2, you know, not one of these oddball Gen 2.5 things that were sold at Bass Pro and Shields or whatever, that, right, if we go back and look when you choose your software versions here, See, so you got the 10 chirp Mega SI Plus Gen 3, right? And here's the regular Mega SI Gen 2. We've got this weird high wide chirp Mega SI, right? I don't know why. Honestly, the software, the only thing they did was throw a high wide transducer in the box. The software for these units here already includes the ability to use high wide 2D. And they had to do that because Minn Kota put the the down imaging transducers in the Alteras, and they wouldn't sell you an Altera anymore, an iPilot Link Altera. They wouldn't sell you one of those with just the US2 in it, right? If you wanted one, you had to get imaging, and all the imaging ones had high wide in them. So Humminbird had to add high wide support to this unit, and so as a result, you can get a high wide 2D skimmer and stick that on the transom, and Humminbird will tell you it's unsupported and don't do it, but to hell with them. It works just fine. They have no idea what they're talking about. Anyway, so the reason that I'm telling people not to upgrade to this is this right here. If you perform the update to 2280, there is no way to recover to a previous version, right? Now, before this, the day that I found out about a new software update, I'd go out and grab it, I'd load it up on my units, I'd take them out to the lake and test them out and see if there were any improvements made or see what they broke or screwed up, and see which pieces of it matter to me, right? Because I've already accepted the fact that parts of my graph are never going to function the way that they're supposed to, because these people they have no quality control in their software development house, right? They release poorly written code. They break things that used to work while they're trying to add features for new stuff. It's just a train wreck, and they don't seem to care, which is unfortunate, especially for us, the consumer, that spend thousands of dollars buying these things, and this is the thanks we get, right? But so that caused me some concern that I can't go back to previous versions. So I picked up the phone and I called Humminbird, and I spent about 2 hours on the phone getting transferred around from one clueless person to the next, until finally they must have ran out of clueless people, and they said, we'll have the manager call you. Okay, great. Maybe the manager's not clueless, right? Well, no, turns out the manager was just as clueless as everybody else, and she started telling me that the reason that I couldn't go back is that this update made changes to hardware. No, try again. I promise you, nobody came into my house and made any changes to any of my hardware. So, wrong. Well, she couldn't give me a valid reason, right? I thought maybe, the older versions can't read the newer base map, and there's no way to remove the base map. So once you install the new base map, you can't go back. So I said, well, what if I don't install the new base map, right? I don't care about it anyway. What if I only update the software and don't change the base map? And she says, oh, well, the software engineers removed the ability to go back. I'm like, what? Who thought that was a good idea? These people can't write a stable piece of code to save their lives, and you're going to allow them to take away the ability for customers to go back? Yeah, I don't know who's signing whose paychecks over there, but somebody needs to be held accountable for that, because that's just terrible. So, yeah. What does this update give you anyway, right? Let's imagine for a minute that you're brave and you do want to do this, even though you know that you can't go back, right? So let's see, what do we get? You get a new base map. I don't know that anybody necessarily gives a damn about that, because everybody buys map cards, right? You get support for the new Raptor shallow water anchor, if you want to link those up to your graph, right? I suppose that's cool, but only if you feel like buying thousands and thousands of dollars worth of anchors, which is stupid. Either get a $4 anchor or get a spot lock trolling motor. Whatever. I'm sure some guys like these things, but I got no use for them. Downriggers. That's what this Canon Optimum is, right? Got no use for those. It fixed an issue where Helix units would continue to ping sonar while they were in standby mode. I don't think I can even count on one hand how many times I've used standby mode. I don't think I've ever used it. Don't care. 50 kilohertz sonar returns were weaker than expected in Switchfire Clear. If you're in deep water, maybe that matters to you. I'm not. Don't care. Again, this doesn't even apply to this model of graph. I have no idea what moron put this in here. And if you've got radar on the boat and you care about the radar heading offset, then maybe you want this. If none of this applies to you, then I wouldn't even remotely consider this. You know, does it fix other things that aren't listed in here? Probably, because again, Humminbird is terrible about telling us what's in an update. Does it break other things that used to work? I would bet on it. I have no idea what, since I'm not going to load it, but I would bet that something that used to work after you load this isn't going to, just because that's their track record. That's how things work. So back to this here. If you perform this update, there's no way to recover. Well, that manager lady told me that there is one way to recover. You can take your unit off your boat, you can put it in a box that you paid for, you can take it down to UPS or FedEx or the post office, and you can pay to ship it back to them, and then you can pay them to reload the old version for you. She claims that it's a 3 or 4 hour effort to do that, and you'd be charged their standard repair rate, and then you can pay to have them ship it back. So basically, they release substandard software that causes a problem on your unit. You're not happy with it, and your only recourse is to pay them money to make the unit function the way that it used to, because somebody decided it'd be a good idea to let the software engineers remove the ability for the customer to downgrade the firmware. Yeah, somebody needs to be unemployed over that, but I suppose that's a conversation for another day. So if you're interested, though, here's the base map information, right? Keep in mind now that the current base map version is 1051 and the update is 1031, so these people can't even count properly, let alone write software, but whatever. You know, it's a large download. They're saying if you have an 85 meg internet connection, it'll take you 15 minutes. You need to load it on an SD card, right? Of course, you cannot do this over the FishSmart app. So, yeah. Which is funny about the email that they sent saying that, you know, there's 2 ways to update, like I mentioned, right? Whatever. If you choose to install this on your unit, then I wish you luck. I'm not going to. I wouldn't recommend that you do. But, yeah. So, again, my goal with these is to get 1 new subscriber per video. So, if you're not subscribed, be my one for this video. Thanks a lot. Have a good one, and we'll see you next time.